Welcome to Inside the Realtor Studio, interviews with industry leaders and professionals in real estate. The Tucson Association of Realtors is turning 100 this year, 1921 to 2021. We honor our history by conducting interviews with the past presidents of the Tucson Association of Realtors. We'll learn a bit of history by talking to the experts themselves. Today's past president is Pam Ruggeroli, who served us in 2017. Pam is a second-generation realtor, beginning her real estate career in 2001. By 2005, she had become a certified residential specialist designee. She is committed and passionate about letting her fellow realtors know the importance of education and professionalism in our industry. Pam currently serves as first vice president of the Residential Real Estate Council, which awards top agents throughout the country with the prestigious Certified Residential Specialist designation. Some of Pam's many accomplishments through leadership are 2009, elected president of the Arizona chapter of the Certified Residential Specialists. In 2012, she was named Tucson Association's Realtor of the Year, and in 2017 was elected president of the Tucson Association of Realtors. Pam believes in her community and believes in giving back. She believes that if you have something to contribute and you can make a difference, you should get involved. And we all agree with that. So let's give a warm Inside the Realtor Studio welcome to Pam Ruggeroli. Welcome, Pam.
Thank you, Steve. Great to be here.
Good. Well, let's begin our, I normally say voyage, but in your case, since you got in 2001, we'll call it your odyssey, with a bit about real estate before you were president. So where did you first hang your license?
Actually, I was encouraged to get my real estate license by Jack Merrick, who is also a past president of the Tucson Association of Realtors. And I started my real estate career at ERA AP Brown Company off of 5th and Craycroft.
Oh yeah, know it well. And so what drew you to real estate? What had you been doing previously?
Well, I'll give you the Reader's Digest version. My mother was a realtor for over 30 years in Las Vegas, Nevada, where I grew up. And I always swore I would never be a realtor. And I was actually volunteering, coaching my daughter's cheerleading squad. And we were at the Abco at River and Craycroft one day selling chocolate bars to raise money for a tournament we were going to. And Jack Merrick, who I did not know at the time, approached me and asked me how many candy bars I had to sell to reach our goal. And I wasn't quite sure. I had never really thought of it that way. So I looked down at the box candy and looked back up at him and I said, a lot. Anyway, he handed me his card. He helped me raise money for the girls to get to their tournament. And then we became really good friends. And for about 2 years, he encouraged me to get my real estate license. And I kept telling him no. And he finally called me one day and he said, sit down, don't say a word, just listen. You're going to real estate school. Here's where you're going. Here's the phone number. Call them and tell them what session you're going to take. And here I am today.
Wow, that's quite a story. So when you started at ERA, did you were you working alone or were you working in a partnership, or how were you doing it then?
I was definitely all alone, felt like a fish out of water, although Jack was a great mentor. And then there were a couple other agents in that office that really helped carve a path for me. But I did it all on my own, but I became a sponge. I just basically learned from the other realtors around me. And I was a former dental hygienist prior to becoming a realtor. So I always loved helping people. And once I put my mindset on not being a salesman, but actually a helper, my business really took off.
And what have you specialized in? Do you do more listings or more work with buyers more? Or?
I'm pretty much 50-50 depending on the year. Right now with our inventory as low as it is, I seem to be representing more buyers than sellers. But when I looked at my 2020 results, it was about 50-50. And so that's pretty consistent. One year we had a buyer incentive that the government was giving out, a rebate. And so I had a lot of buyers that year, more so than sellers. So it kind of just depends on the year. And my business is all referral based. So whether it's a buyer or seller, I just work with them to help them achieve their goals.
Now, did you have a particular area of town or a certain price point that you work in, or?
Nope. I specialize in people, not in areas. So
Okay.
Tucson, Vail, Oro Valley, Marana, Sahuarita. The only one I really won't work in primarily is Green Valley, and I refer out to one of my CRS partners there.
So beginning in 1999, what was the technology you were working with at that point in time?
Actually, I started in 2001.
Okay.
And they had just come out with the MLS on the computer. Quite clunky, I might add, but I remember the days when I used to help out in my mom's real estate office in Las Vegas, that we had the big book and then we also had the binders, and it was my job to go in after school and put all the actives in the active book, and the ones that went under contract had to go into the contingent book, and then the ones that were sold had to go into the sold book. So that was kind of my after school job growing up.
Well, let's shift over to your presidency now. What drew you to association leadership?
You know, Steve, it's always been because somebody has asked me to get involved. I started off when fellow realtors and affiliates and asked me to get involved with the Hearth Foundation. I became their president. And then I got asked to serve and chair on some committees at TAR. And then I was highly encouraged after my leadership with the state CRS chapter to run for board of directors, which I did, and eventually became president in 2017. So it's always because somebody has asked me.
Okay.
And like you said in my bio, whenever I get asked to volunteer for a leadership position, I ask myself two questions. Do I have something to contribute, and can I help make a difference? And if I can, then I'll say yes.
And so along the way, have you had any mentor that you've looked up to in leadership that you've tried to emulate, or?
Wow. Well, I will have to say that Jack Merrick was definitely my number one mentor, because I wouldn't be in this business if it weren't for him seeing something in me that I didn't see in myself. And I would have to say my mom, because my mom was a realtor for over 30 years. I saw what she did. I knew the designations that she had achieved. I knew the hard work that she had done for her local and state association, as well as Women's Council and CRS. She was also a former CRS president for the state of Nevada. So I think you live what you learn.
Yeah. And so during your presidency, what do you think your biggest accomplishment was?
My biggest accomplishment, it was an interesting year, but my biggest accomplishment, I will have to say, is that I helped to encourage other leaders to step into leadership roles. So our 2019 and 2020 president, Barbara Wilson and Billy Mortka, I highly encouraged them to run, just like somebody had done for me. So I would have to say that's probably my biggest accomplishment.
Okay, cool. And have you served, well, I know the answer to this, but I'll let you tell it. Have you served on AAR or NAR committees?
Many. Let's see. AAR, primarily board of directors, and I was also a RAPAC trustee. That's Realtors of Arizona Political Action Committee trustee. So I served on those. And then NAR, I've done numerous committees, but probably the most impactful committee that I've been on is the RPAC Participation Council, and that's the Realtors Political Action Committee Participation Council. And I've been very involved with that for several years.
Any other thoughts about your term in office?
Well, let's see. It was a challenging year because the first 7 months of my presidency, we operated without a CEO. So I had to rely on staff to do their job without having a CEO to tell them what to do. And I felt like we had great staff at the time, and I think everything ran pretty smoothly considering that we did not have a CEO. So the majority of my year was spent chairing the CEO search task force, and we hired current CEO Randy Rogers in June of 2017.
Did you find that during that period of time, the 7 months that you had there, that you were having to make staff decisions and that were being implemented?
Yeah, so I worked closely with staff on making decisions because they didn't have anybody else to go to. So they would bring it to my attention, and then I would work with them to find the best solution. And I felt like it ran pretty smooth considering that we didn't have a CEO at that time. And I just have to say that Christine Sanchez, she was my rock. I couldn't have gotten through my year as president without her. She guided me every step of the way and kept me on track. And I feel like we did okay considering.
Well, as they say, it's still standing. So there you go.
Right,
That's the main
right.
thing. So believe it or not, we are near the end of our interview at this point. And the way we finish it, I have 7 quick questions and I'm looking for 7 quick answers. So what's your favorite word?
Beautiful.
And what's your least favorite word?
Oh, I can't say that one.
Second one that's
Okay,
come
how about
close.
you say ugly?
Okay, there we go. And what turns you on?
Having fun.
Okay. And what turns you off?
Conflict.
Mm. And what profession other than real estate would you have liked to have attempted?
Wow. Um, Public speaker and motivator.
Okay, that's nice. If people who are listening to the series of interviews, this is my favorite question because some of the most amazing things have come forward that you just wouldn't expect from people. And so,
I really wanted to be a dentist when I grew up, and I ended up being a dental hygienist. So I guess I could say that. But if I really wanted to do something fun and
yeah.
make a difference in people's lives, public speaker and motivator.
And what profession are you super glad you didn't attempt?
Dentistry.
So, in closing, if you could do a shout out to anyone, living or not, in the real estate community, who would it be and why?
My mom, Lois Durkee. She was always there for me. She taught me how to work hard and give back and do good. And couldn't have asked for a better mother.
And I've met your mother. You guys were both out on TAR tour together. So, yeah.
Yes, we were.
Pam, that concludes our interview. Anything you want to add?
No, just appreciate you doing this, Steve. And I appreciate the fact that TAR is 100 years old. I'm proud to be part of it, and I'm always here to help in any way I can.
Oh, great. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Thanks.